Good morning. I'm here live from the Exhibitor Live Show in Louisville, Kentucky, and I'm joined by JD here, and he is a LinkedIn specialist. He was also a speaker at the show yesterday morning, and he talked all about the power of LinkedIn. So we're going to get into some tips and tricks for our audience here today. We had a pre-call last week, and you shared some great tips about LinkedIn. The algorithms, it seems like, are constantly changing, and there's some new things going on with LinkedIn to promote their platform. What's one of those tips?
Well, that's true. And the name of my talk was LinkedIn, the Next Frontier. Danica, I have a pioneer mindset, and I've always looked at this as a frontier open to exploration, and that's what we're doing really with LinkedIn. The platform has radically changed since its inception in 2002 and since it officially launched in 2003. So my goal was to kind of merge its past with its present value with a little bit of a futuristic glimpse and give people food for thought, room to roam. The tips and tricks are kind of a mixture of best practices and innovation and improvisation.
Right.
Because there's no playbook, Danica.
Yes, exactly.
We're on our own with this thing.
Right. So I know one of the things that's recent is staying on the platform. When you post, don't include a link outside of the platform.
That's correct.
In the post itself. So then instead writing up your post and then including it in the comment section, like in the first comment within like a minute or two of posting.
That's correct. LinkedIn loves content that's going to live on LinkedIn, and it favors the author and individuals who post content where it's going to have a LinkedIn shelf life. And those are obviously articles and short form posts that are contained within LinkedIn. Once you have an external link, the algorithm perks its head up, so to speak.
Yeah.
If I can personify the algorithm, and it recognizes that you're taking people off of the platform, and it will suppress the reach of the post. So the so-called workarounds on that are to make sure that if you do want to send people off LinkedIn, you let the system buffer after you post, and the convention has become to put it in the first comment below.
Okay.
If the content lives on LinkedIn, if you're taking people to, say, an article or a newsletter or an audio event or a LinkedIn Live, then it has a chance of maintaining its reach, and you can just put the link right into the text field.
Yeah, great. One of the things we also talked about that I thought was really interesting is the timing on it, right? If you liking posts versus commenting, and some of the tips about liking something within the first hour, right?
Yeah, so they say. And again, I think a lot of it is urban legend kind of stuff. And people say you should do it this way. People say, I've tried it that way, it doesn't work. Then there's this kind of algorithmic report that comes out every year as to what folks should do who are creating and disseminating content. What I'm hearing as we sit here today in tape in spring of 2023 is, yes, there are some workarounds to the algorithm. The 3 to 5 hashtags, the wait a minute and then come back in the comment and put a link. These are all based on how to kind of tame, not game, the algorithm. So what I'm trying to do is truthfully work with folks to not write for the algorithm, write for themselves. And instead of the spray and pray approach and hoping the algorithm is giving you favorable treatment, bring people to your content. Create a portfolio of content, evergreen content, and lead people to it, because that will give you a better chance of having your work being seen by the right people.
Right. Well, these are more about increasing visibility. The underlying content does need to be strong in order for it to even, you always want to have strong content in your feed. But it makes sense that if it gets likes right away, that it would be boosted in terms of visibility, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They say once you get your 5th like, if that comes within an hour, you're on your way, kid. And it's not like you put it on autopilot, because if it's a really valuable piece of content that you really want to get out there into the ecosystem, you want to mobilize content advocates. You want to find people in your community who would be willing to share your work, who are networked well on LinkedIn, and increasing the exposure and the visibility that you can get with a specific piece of content. Vanity metrics like likes and comments and reposts, there's a very strong ego component on LinkedIn. We want our stuff to be liked. In the words of Sally Field, they like me, they really like me. And if you're producing content, especially on a daily basis or a multiple times per week basis, Yes, you want to create that visibility and that momentum to get your work in front of the right people.
Yeah, I've heard no more than like once a day typically on LinkedIn.
Supposedly,
Yeah.
I'm a once a day
Okay.
person, but at the same time, if a post starts to really hit a
Uh-huh.
stride, you don't want to mess with it. Let it kind of keep going for you, because I feel that the post that comes in right behind it, if
Right.
it's not as
Yeah.
strong
Mm-hmm.
and doesn't garner as much engagement, it could hurt the spread of the first post. So I usually wait until something kind of runs its course, and then I'm back with another piece.
What are your thoughts on the app mentions? You know, mentioning companies like, let's say, I've been posting about being here at Exhibitor,
Yes.
and post where I'm at, the booths that I may have seen, the companies, and then individuals as well. What are your thoughts on that?
Great topic. A show like Exhibitor Live, as I have learned on the fly, is a camaraderie based, close, very cohesive group of exhibitors and attendees and deal makers and consultants and professionals. And they're at mentioning each other left and right because you want to give people that recognition, let folks know that you're participating in a common experience. And this is experience marketing at its finest. This is like the epicenter of experience marketing. And you get that extra burst of recognition and identification on LinkedIn and relationship building. The at mention, when used properly, is a valuable community building tool.
Yeah, great. I try to do it whenever possible and have time.
Well, I'll be at mentioning you like crazy on this interview. And
Great.
we're also in the real-time content creation mode here. You
Yeah.
see a lot of booths doing video, doing audio podcasts, and
Mhm.
both. It's not streamed, but it's content that can be used on a residual basis moving forward, even to promote next year's event. So
Right.
what people are creating in a 3-day period here at a conference like Exhibitor Live is
Tremendous amount of content.
tremendous amount of content that can serve them in any number of ways, especially over the next, say, 90 days to 6 months. Strike while the iron is hot.
Yeah, while the hashtag is out there. You said 3 to 5 hashtags, really no more than like 5 hashtags.
Hashtaggery,
Yeah.
the craft of hashtaggery. I first heard no more than 3.
Okay.
I have since heard no more than 5. If you're at 3, you're fine. If you're at 5, you're fine. The algorithm frowns on multiple hashtags. There are people that load up on hashtags with very little text. That's not going to work for them. If you're really looking to get good spread on a post, minimum 3 hashtags. 5 seems to be the optimum. That's where it's settling right now based on the reports that I'm hearing. But the trend may change.
You know, I personally use them. I'll do a search if I'm looking for posts from Exhibitor Live, or if I'm looking for posts about trade shows. As a journalist, I use it to try to see what's happening on a daily basis. Sometimes
Correct.
I'll go in and search for that to see if I missed anything.
And hashtaggery is really based on those people who are looking for the work. Your hashtags will not enhance the spread in the regular feed. It'll give you greater coverage for people who are searching under those hashtag categories. And if you take the huge ones like branding or HR or leadership, these are hashtag followers in the millions. How on earth are you going to intersect with the right people?
And sift through.
No one's going to do that. So what I advise is you find hashtags. They're kind of like the second or third, because typically people who are searching under the big categories will be also searching under the subcategories. And subcategory placement, I think, is a very valuable piece too.
Yeah. Is there anything that you're looking forward to that you've noticed that's just like on the cutting edge right now with LinkedIn that, you know, you're excited about seeing where it goes, or new features like that?
It has really expanded the visual capabilities for individual users. We have the ability to curate our profiles like an exhibit, Danica. This was the big metaphor. I've been talking about this for a long time, but to be in front of exhibitors who are looking for the best pieces to bring an exhibit to life, much in the same way we do this on LinkedIn. We're looking for the pieces of narrative that really make up our stories. We're looking for content that truly is a tile in the mosaic of who we are as professionals, and leading people into the window to our world, giving them a little bit more insight than we have in years past. And I think that the pandemic, one of the great inflection points in human history, certainly in the 21st century so far, has really given us that kind of room for autonomy. People are a little bit
Definitely.
more introspective. They're bringing in more aspects of their story that they never would have brought in before. And now we're seeing the visual possibilities on LinkedIn through video and also through audio. Podcasting is huge.
Right.
Through still photography. I'd say still photography is going to come back strong because more folks, more companies are enlisting state-of-the-art photographers to do brand shoots.
Sure.
And the still photography, LinkedIn loves images.
Yes.
They love native video, but images
right.
are key.
And it's key for people to click on too, like
yeah.
for you to stop and look at it
yes.
for it to catch your attention instead of just scrolling
yes.
along, right?
Yes, and with so much clutter out there,
yes.
If you aspire to cut through the clutter, you have to first become part of it. And you do so with great images. That will help you stand out. As you say, it will keep people from scrolling right through you. And ideally, you do rise above the noise with a good photo because people are stuck on your post for a few extra seconds. It gives you dwell time.
Yep.
Very important concept in the LinkedIn world, dwell time. The longer you stay on someone's post, LinkedIn recognizes that, and they will keep sending you that person's content.
So how long they are on your post, and then if they like your post, that their content will show up in your feed a lot more often, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that is fabulous. I really appreciate your time today and taking the time to share a few tips with our audience. It works across any industry, and you really need to have your own personal brand on LinkedIn and then for your own company as well. So
LinkedIn is important. It's taking on greater significance. Our reliance on the site has increased drastically through the years, and there's a lot of cliches around being on LinkedIn or being linked out and all this. I don't really buy into those. I feel that effective use of LinkedIn, the highest, best use of LinkedIn is knowing that it's there, leveraging it for information, but also creating a foundational exhibit on yourself so that when you are researched, you are set up for the types of outcomes you desire.
Well, and we met on LinkedIn. So we're sitting here today because of LinkedIn.
It's another social media miracle.
Right? Thank you so much, JD.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.